got all sweaty and I got shiny. Come closer. Hi, I'm Sivan Alyra Rose, and I'm going to be reading a couple poems that I have dog-eared as my favorite poems out of Poems of Nature. I got this at Barnes & Noble. I'm back. This is my $1 million bookmark. I love it. It's like bigger than the book. I'm trying to see who compiled all these poems, but it does not seem to provide much. The illustration on the cover is by Yerin Tong, and the cover design is by Melissa Ferris, distributed by Sterling, New York. It's got like a gecko, fractal abstract palm. About maybe 50, maybe under 50, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe like 25 to 30 poems. I would say like a safe 25. No to and from written down. Maybe I'll give this book away. This book was $7.99 US, $10.99 Canada. The first poem I have dog-eared is from the Air section, and it is by my, I don't know, I hate revealing information about myself online because, I don't know, I guess I'm really maybe egotistical. I'm like, I want to be the only person that knows these things. Maybe pretentious, hipster, I don't know. But this is Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats. And John Keats is one of my all-time favorite romantic poets. Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats. Let's keep track of it. Go lay down, my dogs. Okay. Thank you. Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats. My heart aches, and a drowsy numbness pains my sense, as though of hemlock I had drunk, or emptied some dull opiate to the drains. 1 minute passed, and Lethe boards had sunk. 'Tis not though envy of thy happy lot, but being too happy in thine happiness, that thou light-winged dryad of the trees, in some melodious plot of beechen green and shadows numberless, singest of summer in full-throated ease. Oh, for a draught of vintage that hath been cooled a long age in the deep-delved earth, tasting of flora and the country green, dance and provincial song and sunburnt mirth. Oh, for a beaker full of the warm south, full of the true, the blushful hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and purple-stained mouth, that I might drink and leave the world unseen, and with thee fade away into the forest dim. Fade, far away, dissolve, and quite forget what thou among the leaves hast never known, the weariness, the fever, and the fret. Here, where men sit and hear each other groan, where palsy shakes a few sad last gray hairs, where youth grows pale and spectre thin and dies. But where but to think is to be full of sorrow and leaden-eyed despairs, where beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes, or new love pine at them beyond tomorrow. Away, away, for I will fly to thee, not charioted by Bacchus and his pards, but on the viewless wings of poesy. Though the dull brain perplexes and retards, already with thee tender is the night. And happily the queen moon is on her throne, clustered around by all her starry phase. But here, there is no light, save what from heaven is with the breezes blown, through verdurous glooms and winding mossy ways. I cannot see what flowers are at my feet, nor what soft incense hangs upon the boughs, but in embalmed darkness guess each sweet, wherewith the seasonable month endows. The grass, the thicket, and the fruit tree wild, white hawthorn and the pastoral eglantine, fast fading violets covered up in leaves, and mid-May's eldest child, the coming musk rose, full of dewy wine, the murmurous haunt of flies on summer eves. No scratching. Darkling I listen, and for many a time I have been half in love with easeful death, called him soft many names in many amused rhyme, to take into the air my quiet breath. Now more than ever it seems it rich to die, to cease upon the midnight with no pain, while thou art pouring forth thy soul abroad in such an ecstasy. Still, wouldst thou sing, and I have ears in vain, to thy high requiem become a sod. Thou wast not born for death, immortal bird. No, hungry generations tread thee down. The voice I hear this passing night was heard in ancient days by emperor and clown. Perhaps the self-same song that found a path through the sad heart of Ruth when sick for home. She stood in tears amid the alien corn, the same that soft oft times hath charmed magic casements opening on the foam of perilous seas and fairy lands forlorn. And this is the last section of the poem. Forlorn! The very word is like a bell to toll me back from thee to my sole self. Adieu! The fancy cannot cheat so well as she is famed to do, deceiving elf. Adieu, adieu! Thy plaintive anthem fades past the near meadows, over the still stream, up on the hillside, and now 'tis buried deep in the next valley glades. Was it a vision or a waking dream? Fled is that music. Do I awake or sleep? And that was Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats. I particularly dog-eared the page because it's a John Keats poem and I'm just biased to a lot of his work. But personally, when I first read this, and I understand now like why it's one of the opening poems here and where air comes into play, because he, as a romantic poet, all of his words usually come centered back to the theme of love, whether it is romantic or within the self or within other relationships such as friendships. And I really admire that it's about, let me count because I don't know Roman numerals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8 verses, and I really admire that there is obviously a very small nod to a woman throughout these passages, and he is describing how when she is not there, he would rather drunken himself among idiotic, I think it's so funny he uses this word, retard men. And if you don't know the definition of that word, it means to be mentally below your actual age. And so he's just kind of describing when he's not in ecstasy of his memories of love, he has to dull himself with dull men. And his ecstasy is found in either being with this woman he's writing about or purely in the memory of her. And as my experience, as where I'm at in my age, 26, I find it that men seem to be stricken with memories, and I admire that he was able to write that striking memory and at the same time be able to compare the folly, the instability of revelry at the time, and how he knew it was an escape regardless of how good it felt. He knew he was escaping memories and the yearning for his love. I think one of my favorite lines is definitely the fourth passage. Because he's just, I really just admire this poem because he's so descriptive of such simple things such as wine or different spirits, their smells, the air, the room they're served in, the staining on the mouth. You have to drink a lot for it to leave stains on your mouth. And then when he goes on to describe this nightingale, this enamoring woman that he's taken with, I really admire that it ends as, do I wake or sleep? He's a little gothic. I haven't done too much research into John Keats' history as to understand if he was influenced by gothic poetry or himself was rather gothic in his nature, but that's me, and so it's probably why I'm biased to a lot of his poetry, because he has quite a positive, I lost the word, but he's got a positive spin on his views of heartbreak and death, and I too get really annoyed with dull minds, especially, well, not just with dull minds, that sounds so mean, more like I also too get annoyed and have like an eye to see people who are intentionally dulling themselves from a place of like pain and yearning. He's so romantic. He's just so romantic. It's amazing. And that was my first dog-eared page from Poems on Nature. I found it as on my way to checkout in their little aisle on there. And so if you see this one at Barnes & Noble, I really recommend picking it up, or whatever other series by this Sterling New York poetry compilation series. Thank you for your time, and here is my word to self and you. Okay, so I think my word to self today, I would like to share with you, Sivan, and you, gracious viewer, a moment. I think I'm in quite the somber mood today. Let me pull up my chest. I believe I'm quite in a somber mood, and I'm very reflective. I think my natural disposition, our natural disposition, is, I guess, adversity, expecting adversity, knowing that I've gone through stuff before and I hope to persevere onto the other side, knowing that I'm choosing growth, and growth looks like a lot of things. So I guess the word to self today would be, what's like a really, I'm trying to like make this in a way that's digestible and not cliche, because it's something that I've actually really come to lately. It's a message that I've heard many places, but it never really stood with me until I acted upon it, and it is acting upon it. To do something is, I guess I could say, what's another way to describe this? I guess I can't hide it. I have to be dark as I am. I have to come as I am, and you have to come as you are. what you wish to do at the level you are able to, regardless of how big the dream is and how small you're only able to achieve small. Do what you want to do at the level you can, where you are, with the resources you have and the people you have around you, because you, Sivan, are alive, and it is better to enact yourself onto the world and your expression while you're alive, so that you can say you are versus you were. As I go through life, as we go through life, you are right now. And so act as you are before you become she was. You were, in a past tense. And a small, but I mean, I feel like everyone does this message at some point, and it's important. It is. Do not let darkness prevail over your light within. And your light is yours to define. As the seas and the air and the earth shake and break, and fire and ice threaten to cause fear in you, choose life. And if you're having a hard time choosing life, be proud of the fact your mind is strong and intelligent and full of such emotions that you can even think about heavy, dark, disgusting subject matter. No scratching. Shh. Have a gothic take on things. Have a gothic turn on things. Get down! Because a lot of people need you, including yourself. I'm trying to make this, I don't want to be preaching to the crowd. I'm trying to talk to me and you. Sivan knows what I'm talking about because it's a choice. And so make that choice. Come as you are before you become who you were. You become she was, she did. Become she is, she's doing. Become present before you become past. Thank you, and that is my message to me and to you. Thank you for your time. Have a good internet day and night and evening.